Hello guys, in this video I will talk about 42 of the best unfinished Half-Life mods. The first one is Hard Life. This is not only a mod that makes Half-Life way more difficult, but it also makes changes to every single map in the game and gives Black Mesa a bit more personality. For those not interested in playing a difficult mod, there is a normal mode where you can just play through the new maps without having to suffer. Hard Life is already on Steam, but they are still working on it and only a few people have access to the beta. Next we have Half-Life 2 Inhuman. I have been following the development of this mod for a few years, and the gameplay alone has the potential to be revolutionary. The AI of the enemies has completely been changed, and Bradley Tolliver, the guy behind Inhuman, has spent years making sure the weapons and gameplay feel as good as possible. According to its Steam page, it takes place a few years after the Borealis incident and even features an original story. My favorite thing about it is how grounded it feels. It focuses on smaller environments and tries to make them look and play as good as possible. Quarter Fraction is the third mod on my list, and it's not really a mod because it runs in Unity and not Source. Rinigene, the creator behind it, really wanted to put his creativity to the test by recreating the entire Source engine feel in Unity and making an Epistle 3 game on top of it. Rinigene seems to be a perfectionist, and the gameplay shows it. The movement is by far the best Source movement remake of all time. Even though Quarter Fraction is not really a mod and should not be on a mod list, you have to check it out. At number 4 we have Half-Life Through the City, which aims to be a sequel to Half-Life Opposing Force. I made a video about its Awoken demo almost 4 years ago and everyone loved it. The mapping, the gameplay, the story, everything was on point. It even features custom voice acting for the G-Man. One of the citizens is voiced by Corey Cruz, aka the Postal Dude from Postal 3 and Postal Brain Damaged. And I kid you not, Dr. Kleiner's voice actor is voicing Dr. Kleiner. Colette Green's voice actress has also recorded some voice lines. What an insane lineup. Kylo also seems to be a perfectionist, which is why he spent a really long time remaking Chapter 1, aka the entire 2022 demo. The difference in quality between 2022 and 2026 is insane. The history of the fifth mod on the list, Chaos Theory, has already been explained in a video on my channel. So, to put it short, Chaos Theory is another attempt at a fan sequel to Opposing Force. Development started all the way back in 2007, and the mod has been through multiple stages of silence, disappointment, and developers under-delivering on their promises, which led to them cancelling the project, another team picking it up years later, failing miserably, and then another team picking it up again, and here we are. So far, the screenshots of the new maps and models look amazing. The Chaos Theory team has not shared too many details, so we just have to trust that everything is going well behind the scenes. Speaking of things going well behind the scenes, Infinite Finality has unfortunately not been able to have that privilege. However, even with the controversy surrounding one of their ex-team members, development is still going strong. Just for some context, Infinite Finality is another Epistle 3 mod. Funnily enough, Infinite Finality was able to break the Half-Life 3 curse by releasing a 1-hour-long demo back in 2024, making it the first Epistle 3 project that has a demo longer than 10 minutes. The visuals are outstanding, and so is the voice acting. They seem to have found some pretty good voice actors for Dr. Kleiner and even Magnuson. From what I have heard, the campaign will be the same length as Half-Life 2 Episode 2, which sounds awesome. Staying on the topic of Episode 3 mods, Half-Life Interlude seems to have the same scope in mind. Apparently there was some controversy in the developer team which led to Interlude getting cancelled and then uncancelled 1 month later. Can everyone stop arguing, please? A 10-minute long demo for it was released back in 2024. The length might not be that impressive, but you are going to have a great time. Expect to hear some familiar voices and be traumatized. Remember Entropy 02? Ever wondered what happened after the cliffhanger ending? Well, that will be answered in Entropy 02 Axon Pariah. Breadman has been hard at work making a sequel to what might just be one of the best mods of all time. Axon Pariah is expected to have 6 chapters and feature new enemy types and weapons. It looks like the mod will be way more grounded and feature a more prominent story, which sounds awesome. Breadman, however, did not only want to make a sequel to Entropy 02, but he also wanted to experience with a prequel that takes place sometime after the 7-hour war. Excuse me for the pronunciation on this one, but not only is Entropy 02 progenitors, exactly that, but it's more than anyone could have asked for. A game from the eyes of a Combine assassin that adds in new mechanics such as the cloaking device and even the ability to do parkour. It is still extremely early in development, but man, you can feel the taste of a good cake when you see it. And no, I am not talking about the Combine Assassin, goddammit. At number 10 we have Half-Life Vance, a mod that aims to retell the story of Half-Life 2, except it's in an alternate universe where Gordon Freeman refused G-Man's offer and died. You get to play as Alex, who now has a red HEV suit. Vance unfortunately got cancelled, but do not worry because Rogue Lambda, the team behind Revance, is here to save the day. They took over development back in 2023 and are still working on it to this day. No update has been posted in quite some time, but the project is still alive. Remember Half-Life DK, the co-op campaign made by Gearbox? Peer review is not a remake, but instead a reboot of it. Every single asset is being remade from scratch, and apparently the mod just got out of its alpha phase and it's almost playable from start to finish. There is still a lot of work to be done, but I think this one will surprise a lot of people. No click, we are on mod 12. How dare you not mention the Half-Life 2 beta even once? Oh, I apologize. Raising the Bar Redux is a mod that tries remaking the Half-Life 2 beta. I covered it on the channel a few years ago, and by the looks of it, development is still going well. According to the developers, the mod will probably be finished by 2030 to maybe even 2032, which makes a lot of sense. The playtime for the first 3 out of 7 divisions is around 7 hours. I would probably put this mod in the same category as Black Mesa and Entropy 02. They could have put a price tag of $10 on it and nobody would have complained. No click, please, more Half-Life 2 beta, please. Fine, here's one more. Number 13 is Dark Interval, a mod that does not try remaking the beta one-to-one, but instead adds in new characters, stories and gameplay elements to make it a bit more interesting. So far, Dark Interval has had 2 parts released, containing around 9 chapters in total. Some of the maps look phenomenal. My favorite thing about Dark Interval is that it still has that vanilla Half-Life 2 look to it, meaning it's probably possible to run it on a potato. The next release is gonna focus on the air exchange, which is gonna be awesome. Let's go back in time. A few months after the release of Half-Life, Valve released a demo called Uplink. 20-something years later, a team has decided to completely remake that demo using the art style of the alpha version of Half-Life 1. I am of course talking about Signal Lost. Now calling it a remake is probably an understatement. Signal Lost adds in cut enemies, cut locations, and man, the atmosphere is something else. The reason the mod is taking so long is because it's only being made by one person, Lady Jane Trace. Maybe Valve should consider hiring her because look at the graphics. Hunt down the Freeman. Hey, wait. Ow! Hey! Hunt Down the Freeman Classic is a demake of Hunt Down the Freeman in the Gold Source engine. I had the chance of playing its demo a few years ago, and to be fair, my experience was kind of good. The animations are very well done. Seeing Mitchell get his ass kicked by fake Gordon Freeman will never get old. Next we have a mod that not many of you have heard of. Quantum Paradox, a single-player campaign for Half-Life 2 Episode 2, in which you play as a person who does not remember his past and appears literally from nowhere. The premise might not sound too interesting on paper, but look at the visuals. The gameplay on the screen is almost 6 years old. Imagine how much better Quantum Paradox could look today. Unfortunately, the last update was also posted around 6 years ago. Not sure what is going on, but the Steam page is still up, so maybe they're still working on it? Remember Project Borealis? The Epistle 3 fan project made in Unreal Engine 5? In 2024, a demo finally got released, and the reactions were kind of mixed. Personally, I loved it. The length of the demo was only like 5 minutes, however everything looked great, the gameplay was extremely faithful to Half-Life 2, and the physics worked as intended. My hopes for Project Borealis are quite high. I have been following its development for almost a decade. Hopefully they can release something good in the next couple of years. Another mod that I had very high hopes for was Boreal Aleph, another Epistle 3 adaptation that unfortunately got cancelled after the people behind it realized making Half-Life 3 is not that easy. The source files ended up being released on the internet, and I really like what they were going for. Punchier gameplay combined with better visuals? Yes please. The HUD in particular is probably my favorite recreation of the Half-Life 2 HUD. Too bad all Epistle 3 related projects are cursed. Hey, at least we got an awesome soundtrack out of it. Operation Black Mesa. The name alone gives me a lot of nostalgia. probably because the game was announced like a million years ago and it's still in development. For those unaware, Operation Black Mesa is a remake of Half-Life Opposing Force. Every single asset is being remade from scratch. As you can tell from the gameplay, the wait will probably be worth it. Tripmine Studios have also decided to remake Blue Shift and release it as DLC for Operation Black Mesa under the name Guard Duty. Another Blue Shift remake that we will talk about in a few minutes has pretty much taken all the spotlight from Guard Duty by being released chapter by chapter instead of waiting for a full release. Are people going to care about another Blue Shift remake if that one ends up getting finished before Guard Duty? No idea, but only time will tell. Have you ever wanted to play as a Black Ops assassin? Well, Half-Life Dark Matter lets you do exactly that. Deads, the mother behind Dark Matter, has been working on it on and off for the past 7 years. Not much else to say, to be honest, everything looks great, so good luck to him and his team. If you were around for the Half-Life meme resurgence back in 2022, then the Half-Life 2 21st Century Edition mod probably sounds very familiar to you. If not, these videos might ring a bell.
Coca-Cola, espuma!
Freeman, right? I have a message for you. Obama's last name.
NVC DMNCH, aka Novus Source, was planning on making the entire Half-Life 2 campaign a bit more brain-rotted. At first, things were going well until NVC got burned out and decided to cancel the entire project. All the source files and assets made for it have been released on ModDB and the Half-Life 2 workshop. Now, moving on to something a bit more different, we have Source World, a Half-Life 2 mod that takes place 300 years after the end of the story, which acts as a sort of RPG immersive sim combined with some very interesting visuals and environments and basically a lot of content. Some levels are procedurally generated, which means everyone will have a different experience. The Steam demo is around 3 hours long and the full release is planned for Q1 of 2027. At number 24 we have Wilson Chronicles. After 6 years from the last update and 9 years since the beginning of the first beta, it has been announced that the mod is still being worked on. Controversy aside, it is extremely commendable that even after getting so much hate, the creator still has the motivation to work on his personal project and finish it. By the way, Wilson Chronicles is available on Steam. Number 25. Operation Stabilization. Back in 2020, a modder that went by the name of Zero Glitch, who later changed his name to Arc Cynics, started working on a mod that aimed to put the player in the shoes of Echo 1, a Combine soldier who is trying to stop Gordon Freeman from his Nova Prospect rampage. Arc Cynics was a very close friend of mine. He always shared screenshots of how development was going, and he seems to really enjoy it. I remember him sending me builds to playtest on almost a daily basis. He was extremely passionate about his work. I remember him being extremely happy about being able to implement custom animations for the weapons. Unfortunately, behind the scenes, Arc was kind of struggling. I do not want to share any personal details, but Arc passed away due to an illness on November 23rd, 2020. Rest in peace, my friend. The story, however, does not end there. In April of 2020, I decided to make a video about Operation Stabilization, where I showcased a build of the mod that I had on my PC. My video inspired a developer team to start working on a project called Operation Stabilization Revived, which aimed to finish the work that Arc had started. Development lasted about a year. A lot of progress was being made, but then the lead developer decided to delete every single trace of the mod's existence except for the ModDB page because he did not have access to it and completely disappeared. 2 years later, one of the other developers of the team decided to release 2 of the maps of the revived version on the Entropy 02 workshop. They are not finished, but to be honest, anything is better than nothing. Number 26 is Black Mesa Blue Shift, a remake of Blue Shift that I have already talked about in a 1-hour long video on the channel. Black Mesa Blue Shift is an example of why the community is still alive to this day. Making a game that looks like this and releasing it for free without expecting anything in return is almost unseen nowadays. There are still groups of people who can get together and make stuff that puts other AAA games to shame. Relive the groundbreaking, critically acclaimed Half-Life 2 like never before, reimagined with RTX Remix. That is the Steam description option for Half-Life 2 RTX. A demo for it got released back in March of 2025, and people really hated its optimization and the fact that the mod needed 50 gigabytes of free space for only 2 chapters. With that in mind, let's also remember that there are not that many good RTX remixes, and trying to add ray tracing to a game released in 2004 is probably a pain in the ass. So I think that just that effort alone deserves a mention on my list. Moving on, we have Half-Life Extended, one of my personal favorites. If the demo released back in 2025 is an indication of the full version's quality, then oh man, we might have a contender for mod of the year. Extended feels very similar to Hard-Life without the difficult parts. It aims to completely recreate every single Half-Life map from scratch and make the entire campaign more fun to play through. If you have not played the demo, do yourself a favor and go have some fun. According to the developers, a Steam release is also planned. Definitely keep an eye out for that. Another thing to keep an eye out for is Black Mesa Classic, a demake of Black Mesa, which happens to be a remake of Half-Life, and they are trying to demake it in the Half-Life 1 engine. Schizophrenia at its finest. Now, what I find to be the most interesting is the fact that this does not act as a reskin. The NPC AI has been completely changed, and things such as the weapon animations and visual effects have been remade from scratch. The NPCs even have a gesturing mechanic. Gold Source is almost 30 years old. Number 30 is Half-Life DK Solo Mission, a mod that aims to turn the entire DK campaign into a single-player experience. According to Mr. Floyd, the person behind it, Colette Green did not really play an important role in DK and mostly acted as an avatar for the second player, which is why he decided to remove her. Solo Mission does not plan on changing too much about the story. 2 demos have been released so far, with the latest one being in 2022. Mr. Floyd had to deal with some personal problems behind the scenes, which led to him needing to take a break. Hopefully he can come back once he feels ready to do so. What if Half-Life 2 was dark
Did someone mention the Half-Life 2 beta? I can't believe how dark and gritty it was.
What? No! What are you doing here? What I meant to say was, what if all maps that took place during the day in vanilla Half-Life 2 now take place during the night, and the maps that took place during the night now take place during the day?
No click? What are you talking about?
Dark Life 2 does exactly that by changing the skybox and lighting of every single map. Look at the coast map, it looks awesome, and I love how City 17 looks in the screenshot. Some maps that were never meant to be creepy will now make everyone poop their pants. A demo featuring 3 playable chapters was released back in 2022. Again, no idea what's happening behind the scenes, but I'm very excited to play through this once it comes out. Back in 2005, Jeremy Faconpray, a person that went by the name Mixty, came up with the idea of making a Half-Life 2 mod inspired by Silent Hill, Max Payne, Fear, and many of his other favorite video games. He went on to call that mod Underhell. Over the next 6 years, he would work on the prologue and the first chapter. The prologue ended up being released in 2011, and the entire first chapter was released 2 years later in 2013. Everyone loved it, even calling Underhell one of the best mods ever made. The total playtime is around 10 hours, which is an insane playtime for just 1 chapter and a prologue. Every map is well detailed, the story is interesting, and Underhell does not seem to be afraid to take risks. Jeremy's work on Underhell did not go unnoticed. He got hired by New World Interactive to work on Day of Infamy and Insurgency Sandstorm. A few years later, he got hired by Highwire Games and worked on 6 Days in Falaya. Chapter 2 of Underhell never ended up coming out. On March 6, 2026, Jeremy lost his battle with depression and passed away at the age of 35. Underhell will be remembered by many, and Jeremy's legacy will never be forgotten. May he rest in peace. Coterminous is another attempt at fixing the beta version of Half-Life 2. Its tagline is, "What would Half-Life 2 have been like if we had gotten the version shown to us in the official promotional materials?" I am a big fan of Coterminous, mostly because how good it can blend the retail maps into the beta ones. At first you will be like, huh, nothing looks new here, kind of boring. And then, boom, here's a completely new environment. 2 chapters are already out, make sure to check them out. The team seems to be currently working on Ravenholm and City 17. In a few more years, who knows, maybe we will finally have a fully playable beta experience. Number 34 is Time Warp. The year is 2095. You play as patient number 84, someone who is being used in time travel experiments in a secret facility. It's basically a whole new universe with new enemies and new weapons that runs on the Gold Source engine. engine. Just like many projects on my list, Time Warp has a demo available. I see a lot of potential here, but just like almost everyone so far, the creator behind Time Warp, cameo, kind of got tired of working on the same project for so long and decided to more or less take a break. Fortunately, not everyone has a sad backstory. cameo and his wife are currently working on a survival horror game made in the Quake engine, and they seem to be very happy about doing that. Have you ever wondered what would have happened if Gordon Freeman got caught by the Combine and got sent to Nova Prospect in the beginning of the game? Quiet Rehabilitation answers that question. I had some time to play the 2024 demo, and if you told me Valve made these maps, I would believe you. A Steam release is planned for 2026. The total playtime is estimated to be around 3 hours. If everything goes well, I could see Quiet Rehabilitation winning Mod of the Year. Very underrated. Go check it out. Half-Life Echoes is one of the best ever Half-Life projects, which is why some people have decided to remake it on the Black Mesa engine and call it Black Mesa Candidate 12. However, the last blog post for this project was posted 4 years ago, and their Discord server no longer seems to work. Maybe it's safe to say that development stopped and nobody could be bothered to announce it. Next is Half-Life Element 64, a sort of retro shooter set during the events of the Resonance Cascade, made in the Gold Source engine. Please do not take a shot each time I say the word demo in this video, but a demo for Element 64 was released on Steam back in November of 2025. From what I can tell, people liked the demo but expected a bit more, especially from something with such a badass poster. Not much else to say, other than the fact that I respect the creator for making a retro shooter in 2026. Back in December of 2024, I made a video about a mod called Bear Party Adventures, my favorite Half-Life 2 mod ever made. Bear Party Adventures ended in a cliffhanger, which means the developer maybe had some kind of sequel planned. So even though it has not been announced, developers, if you are hearing this, please make Bear Party Adventures 2. I'm not even kidding. In 2019, this 2clicks Philip video inspired me to start learning how to use the Hammer editor, and I ended up spending a very long time making a map for Half-Life 2 without watching any tutorials. Everything you are seeing right now was made only using trial and error. I even put in a G-Man sighting. What's funny is that he just stays there, he does not even disappear. The map lasts about 5 minutes, and in my opinion, it's really good. For the people interested, the map will be uploaded on the Half-Life 2 workshop by the time the video will be out. Go check it out. While staying on the topic of self-advertising, let me talk about another mod that I had to cancel due to not having enough time to work on it. Cursed Half-Life 2. The popular cursed Overwatch voice lines on the Gmod and Half-Life 2 workshops were written by me, and they were recorded for this mod. The plan was to add in new weapons, new enemies, stupid funny situations, and pretty much revoice every single NPC. I ended up releasing it unfinished in 2022. Go check out the ModDB demo if you are interested in seeing how stupid my sense of humor was about 4 years ago. Doom Eternal is one of my favorite video games of all time. Half-Life Reamped seems to be a mod inspired by it, and the gameplay looks way too awesome not to mention it. The footage you are seeing right now is pre-alpha. Imagine how good a final version would be. Now again, I feel like this video is starting to get repetitive, but Reamped has not seen any updates in almost 4 years. Could it still be alive? Maybe. Even if it isn't, please, developer, make it official. At number 41, we have the OWF build of Hunt Down the Freeman, which aims to fix the entire game from start to finish and make it playable. Yes, that means Hunt Down the Freeman is getting good, all thanks to a bunch of people who were able to take over the Steam page and start pushing new updates. What a weird turn of events. This video, made by a very handsome person, explains everything in much more detail. And lastly, we have Fubar, a reimagined remake of Half-Life Opposing Force running on the Source engine. The community seems to be very excited about Fubar, and for good reason. Just look at the screenshots. All of this was made in only 1 year. Imagine what a few more years could do. One of the developers even decided to travel to Nevada and Utah to take pictures for inspiration. That is all for today. If people manage to give me more examples of good unfinished mods, I might make a part 2. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.